Hi, I'm Michelle and welcome to my channel. Does anyone have hobbies anymore? Or has the side hustle culture absolutely rearranged the furniture in our brains? Because now if you're good at anything, painting, baking, crocheting, photography, someone eventually slides in and goes, "You know you could totally sell that, right?" And suddenly this thing that used to be relaxing turns into a performance, a plan, a product, and then you feel guilty if you do it just because it makes you happy. If you're in midlife, this hits extra hard because for many of us, this season comes with real financial pressure. Maybe you're rebuilding, maybe you're divorced, maybe you're caring for parents. Maybe retirement is on your mind and you're thinking, I just need more income, like yesterday. So I get it. I am not anti-money and I'm not anti-side hustle culture, but I am very pro-joy. But I do think that the side hustle culture has messed with the whole concept of hobbies. Here's the part that makes this so complicated, especially in midlife. Because on one hand, monetizing a hobby can be genuinely smart. Like if you're already doing the thing and it brings in a little extra money, that can be helpful and sometimes even life-changing. But on the other hand, this is where there's a catch-22. Monetizing your hobby is one of the easiest ways of killing the enjoyment. Because the second that the money comes in the room, the energy changes. When it's a hobby, you can be messy and you can be slow and you can be inconsistent. But when it becomes income, then suddenly you feel pressure to improve fast. You start comparing yourself to other people who are years ahead of you. And you start thinking about what sells instead of what you love. You start making decisions based on engagement and not enjoyment. And your brain turns it into work. And then the hobby that used to refill you starts draining you. I'm in this side hustle culture, but I'm trying to be intentional about it. For example, I'm learning how to create and edit videos. Some people would call that a hobby. And yes, there's parts of it that I genuinely enjoy. I like learning the skill, I like seeing my improvement, and I like the creative puzzle of putting something together. But I don't think of it as just for fun. I do think of it as a side hustle because I'm doing it with a purpose. I'm doing it because it supports my bigger goals. It supports my income. It supports the life that I'm building in this season. And even though I enjoy it, it has work energy attached to it. Like I can't pretend I'm editing a video for fun the way I casually crochet a hot pad. There's a little pressure in the background. There's a should, there's an outcome attached, and outcomes are the fastest way to take something from relaxing to stressful. Another example would be writing and illustrating children's books. I love writing and I love illustrating. I love building a world on paper, and that's very much me. And yes, I monetize it, but here's what's important. I didn't start doing it because I thought, how can I turn this into a business? I started because I loved it. And then over time, it became something that also made me money. And that's totally different energy. Because when money is the first reason that you do something, you tend to shape it around what's profitable. But when love is the first reason, you shape it around what feels meaningful. And then money becomes the bonus, not the boss. And now I've started creating art for greeting cards and jigsaw puzzles. Same thing. I genuinely enjoy it. It scratches that creative itch and it's fun. But I'm also monetizing it. And that's where I've had to practice something that is honestly the secret skill of midlife: boundaries. Because I know myself, if I'm not careful, I can take something that I enjoy and turn it into a full-time obsession. Like suddenly I'm thinking, what's the best-selling theme? What holidays should I be planning for? And what's trending now? And now we're not in hobby territory anymore. We're in content factory territory. So I'm learning to monetize things without letting them take over my whole life. Because there's a difference between I'd love to make some money doing this and my worth depends on how this performs. And hustle culture tries to blur that line. I'm trying to choose a mix of profit and joy. So where I'm landing now is this. I'm allowing myself to have a mix. Some creative things are a side hustle, and some creative things are income. And some creative things are just mine, because I don't want a life where every enjoyable part of me gets turned into a revenue stream. Yes, money matters, but so does joy. A lot of us aren't just playing around. We're thinking about retirement. We're thinking about stability and health care, and we're thinking about if something happened tomorrow, would I be okay? So it's not like the should you monetize that whisper is always evil. Sometimes it's practical. But the pressure adds up because now you're not just enjoying your hobby, you're calculating it. Should I be posting this? Should I be selling this? Should I be building an audience? And this is where things get toxic, because hustle culture doesn't just suggest monetizing it. It suggests that if you don't monetize it, you're being irresponsible. Like relaxing is a character flaw. So then we swing to the other side. Maybe you decide, nope, this is mine. This is just for joy. But then another feeling creeps in, guilt. Because opting out can feel like leaving money on the table, especially when money is tight or prices are insane, or you're trying to build a cushion. And that guilt has the sneaky voice that says, you're good at something. Why wouldn't you profit from it? If you have free time, why aren't you using it? And then suddenly doing a hobby just because it makes you happy starts to feel almost childish. Like, who do I think I am finger painting in midlife when I should be optimizing my future? And that belief is a lie. Joy without an agenda is not a waste of time. It's not laziness or avoidance. It's creativity, it's identity, and it's mental health. And when we remove hobbies that are purely ours, we lose the only place where we feel like we're allowed to fully be ourselves without being evaluated. And I think midlife is the exact time that we need more of that, not less. So this is where I've been stuck lately, and I'm genuinely asking, do people even have hobbies anymore? Because when I talk to people and ask the classic question, what do you do for fun? The answers are interesting. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I mean that in a what's happening to us way. A lot of people will say things like, I cook, I work out, I go to the gym, I'm really into meal prep, I do Pilates. And I'm not here to insult anyone's Pilates. I am so happy you're stretching. But truly, I just want to say something that might sound controversial. Cooking and fitness aren't hobbies. They're survival. They're maintenance. They're things that you do so you feel good to stay alive. And now, can they be enjoyable? Of course. Can they be creative? Absolutely. Can they be relaxing and satisfying? Yes. But usually the primary reason you're doing them isn't so I can't wait to explore my passion for protein. It's I want to feel healthy and have energy, manage stress, and take care of my body. But when those things replace hobbies, it's often a sign that we've absorbed this hustle culture belief that the only activities worth doing are the ones that improve us. Because hustle culture teaches us to filter everything through the one question: is this useful? And if the answer is no, we label it unnecessary. And I think that's why so many people struggle to name hobbies, because so many of us have been trained to feel guilty for anything that doesn't produce a measurable outcome. Like enjoyment alone isn't a valid reason. And that's wild, because enjoyment is literally the point of being human. Midlife makes it even harder. And midlife makes this even trickier because this is the season where a lot of us are holding a lot. You're thinking about health, retirement, and money. So it makes sense that we default to activities that feel responsible. If everything you do is tied to responsibility or improvement, life starts feeling like one long self-management project. And hobbies are the antidote to that. Hobbies are where you get to be delightfully unproductive, where you get to be a beginner again and do something with no pressure to be the best at it. A better question than what do you do for fun would be, what do you do that makes you lose track of time? Because that's usually where the hobby lives. This might sound dramatic, but hobbies are a proof that you're still you, not just someone who's needed. Not just someone who's responsible or who's keeping everything running. You're still a person with preferences, curiosities, taste, and a sense of play. And when we abandon hobbies, your identity goes looking for something else to attach to. And often it attaches to things that are harsher, like productivity, achievement, control, money, other people's approval. And that's when you start to feel like your worth is always on the line. But hobbies create a different kind of worth. They remind you, I don't have to earn my right to exist. And there's also something practical here. Hobbies calm your nervous system, not in a trendy self-care bubble bath way, in a real way. When you're absorbed in something you enjoy, your brain gets a break from being on alert all of the time. You stop scanning for problems and you enter this state where your mind can just breathe. And in midlife, when we're often carrying stress, responsibilities, and the emotional weight of everything we've lived through, that kind of mental rest isn't indulgent, it's necessary. I really believe hobbies are where you meet yourself again. Because when you do something just because you love it, you're not trying to become a better person. You're just being a person. So yes, make money if you want to, be smart, build stability, because dedicating time to something that you enjoy just because you can, honestly, that's not laziness, that's freedom. Thank you so much for watching.